wanted to go in there, I ain't gonna lie. I really didn't, bro. I told him to put it up. I was like, bro, he's 16, bro.
Floyd Mayweather has leaked shocking footage of Gervonta Davis sparring Shakur Stevenson. There's no denying that Shakur Stevenson is one of the top boxers in the sport today. So why hasn't the three-division champion had any mega fights yet? Why hasn't he faced high-profile prospects like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, or Gervonta Davis? Is this his fault? Matchroom boxing head Eddie Hearn believes the blame lies with Stevenson's promoter and suggests he might be the one to elevate Stevenson to the stardom he deserves. The British promoter stated, "I think Shakur is pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world. He's maybe unbeatable, maybe. He is that good. But I think he's been promoted terribly. Shakur Stevenson has been with Bob Arum's Top Rank since the start of his career. With only one fight remaining on his contract with Arum, Stevenson is expected to become a free agent after his July 6th bout against Artem Harutyunyan. Eddie Hearn believes that Bob Arum is not fully committed to making Stevenson the commercial success he could be. According to Hearn, since this is Stevenson's last fight with Top Rank, Arum lacks the incentive to increase the purses and offer more money than necessary. Hearn also shared his thoughts on the boxer and what he believes would be best for his future. Hearn also noted that the boxer hasn't been pressured by his promoter to achieve commercial success. Hearn believes that since Shakur is planning to leave Top Rank, Bob Arum doesn't have the incentive to raise his earnings. Hearn stated, "Shakur should be a massive star, but he is not," arguing that Top Rank hasn't gone far enough in assisting Stevenson in becoming a celebrity with commercial potential. Suggesting a prospect to make Shakur a commercial success, the British promoter added, "I think he's a great fighter. I think he would be an incredible addition to the Matchroom team, and if he's available, we will definitely be having a conversation. Whether it works for both of us, we have to see." Few boxing promoters can match the popularity of Hearn. He excels at promoting himself, and even more so at promoting fights. Hearn has openly expressed his interest in signing the WBC lightweight champion. Now, the decision rests with the boxer. The boxer from Newark, New Jersey is arguably the most overlooked fighter today. His best chance for big paydays lies in facing Gervonta Davis. Hailing from Baltimore, Davis is one of boxing's biggest draws, making a matchup with Stevenson highly anticipated. As Tank searches for his next opponent, Shakur may soon get a shot at the knockout artist. Will it happen? While talking about a potential bout with Davis, the 26-year-old southpaw stated, "Honestly, I don't care. It is what it is. I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for money or clout. I don't give a f*** about that. I know that my time will come. Tank Davis has nowhere else to go but to fight me. At the end of the day, me and him will have to fight, and that's my opportunity." After his spectacular knockout victory over Frank Martin earlier this month, Tank has two potential options for his next match: Shakur Stevenson and Vasyl Lomachenko. He seems inclined to fight Loma, and discussions are currently underway. There is a high probability that Davis could face Shakur after the anticipated Lomachenko fight later this year. In every era, a trio of standout boxers typically rises above the rest. For the present generation, that trio includes Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and Devin Haney. Nevertheless, their ex-teammate, sparring partner, and Mayweather Promotions protege, Robert Merriweather, has declared who he believes is the best among them. In a recent interview with Fight Hype, he was asked to pick the standout performer among his upcoming opponents. Naming his champion among the three, the 19-year-old said, "Against all the other guys, in my opinion, I got Tank, but I do feel like it's a tough fight among all of them. What's most intriguing is the inevitable clash between these three boxers. Davis and Haney have long been at odds, their rivalry even spilling into a leaked sparring session that captivated the public. It's only a matter of time before they step into the ring together." Stevenson, while maintaining respect towards Davis, has consistently expressed his eagerness to compete against him. His determination to face Davis has been evident, especially intensifying following Davis's recent bout against Frank Martin earlier this month. Nonetheless, Kings Merriweather explained, they have really good boxing skills, boxing IQ, and they know what they're doing in the ring. Despite all this, the 19-year-old believes Davis's experience will prevail if they fight, suggesting, "We don't know if Shakur or Devin have the pop to keep Tank off of them." King thinks Davis's killer instinct is too much for Stevenson and Haney. Merriweather was unsure whether Stevenson can build up the power to press Davis to the limits, but said, "For right now, they are not going to be able to." It's interesting to note that a previous exchange between the two suggests the same outcome. Before their anticipated bout in April, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, the Victorville-born boxer, released exclusive sparring footage on YouTube. The video revealed Haney under pressure throughout the match against Davis, prompting Adrian Broner to intervene and briefly halt the session. Witnessing the intense sparring, Stevenson subsequently offered his insights. He wrote, "Never in my life have I taken a beating like that by any fighter, good lord." While Stevenson took a dig at Haney, Davis didn't want to let Stevenson play coy. Davis quickly responded in a now-deleted tweet, "You know what's up too." Haney asserted that the sparring video had been heavily altered to make him appear unfavorable. Similar to Mayweather's statement, the majority of the community shares the same viewpoint regarding the triad of lightweight boxing. Some believe that Gervonta and Shakur have the ingredients for an all-American, all-undefeated unification fight in one of the biggest divisions in the sport. When Devin Haney made the move to 140 pounds and relinquished his 4 lightweight titles, it turned out to be advantageous for both men involved. Davis saw his status rise from WBA regular champion to full champion, while Stevenson seized the opportunity to compete for and triumphantly claim the vacant WBC belt against Edwin de los Santos. Fans are eager to see Tank and Shakur face off next, but 3-weight world champion and Hall of Famer James Toney cautioned Shakur against making that move in an interview with Fight Hub TV. Toney said, "Shakur Stevenson's a good fighter, but Shakur Stevenson ain't ready for that. Everybody in boxing, you so-called experts, y'all don't know about boxing. Shakur is a young fighter. Let him develop, and then when it's time, you make a move. But now, Tank got that momentum. It's bad for Shakur. He'll ruin his whole career like Crawford did to Errol Spence Jr. It appears like Stevenson will not be competing in the high-profile match for the time being, as Vasily Lomachenko is prepared to start negotiations with Davis. Both have promised fans that a bout will happen eventually if they continue to win and remain at the weight. However, Timothy Bradley suggests that Tank's recent victory paves the way for a high-stakes clash with Shakur Stevenson, potentially adding a twist to Davis's quest for unified titles. Timothy Bradley, in an interview with Essentially Sports, forecasted that Shakur might disrupt Gervonta Davis's winning streak, emphasizing Stevenson's exceptional boxing prowess as the potential game changer. He said, "Shakur doesn't need any wisdom from me. He knows what to do. Whether he's with Top Rank or not, Shakur is that guy. He doesn't need me to tell him what to do." Bradley contends that Davis's 14-month absence might prove pivotal in an upcoming bout, tipping the scales in favor of Stevenson for a triumphant outcome. He added, "Stevenson knows he has that fight in him, that he's cut from a different cloth. He keeps bringing that intensity. He beats Tank. He surpasses him very easily, without any problem." Boxing fans are excitedly awaiting Stevenson's next fight result, and a Davis versus Stevenson matchup is a real possibility. This potential showdown guarantees an exhilarating clash between two of the sport's most skilled fighters, each showcasing distinct strengths and fighting techniques. Whatever fighter Davis faces next, Stevenson or Lomachenko, it will undoubtedly be a tough test as he pursues title unification. Davis has yet to lose in his professional career, and he exudes confidence in his ability to overcome any opponent. Moreover, Davis seems to have had enough of the criticism he gets and the chatter from Stevenson's camp. "A lot of built up, and I'm going to take it out on him," Gervonta Davis stated at the kickoff press conference before his fight against Frank Martin. Feeling rusty, Davis got off to a poor start, but he soon gained momentum and started throwing heavy blows to Martin. Tank delivered a devastating uppercut and a left cross in the 8th round, which sent Martin sprawling to the canvas. With this win, Davis has now eliminated 28 opponents in 30 fights, putting him in a great position to rule the lightweight class. As the reigning WBA lightweight champion, Davis is eyeing a path towards unification, setting his sights on potential clashes with Shakur and Vasyl Lomachenko. Davis has previously discussed his views on facing up against one of these opponents. He said, "You know how it would go. Everybody in this room knows how it would go. I guess it would be good for the sport if we fight." Stevenson, who fights cautiously and defensively, has only 10 knockouts in 21 fights, significantly lower than Davis's. This particular approach might not attract fans seeking to steer clear of another disappointing match akin to Stevenson's bout against Los Santos, which could sway Davis's decision regarding whether to accept a fight with him.
If there's a gun in your head, when are we gonna see the Shakur Tanks, the Shakur Devin, the Devin Tanks?
There's only one fight that is really
the one
that, like, if we were like gonna be for real about it, like,
keep it on.
What's
like,
the fight?
my opinion, because we talking about like skill and like boxing, like all around boxing, right?
Yeah.
Because we ain't talking about somebody that just got a good jab or what.
Yeah.
We talking about like all around.
Can do everything.
Yeah, boxing.
Yeah.
Me and Tank the biggest fight.
That's the one.
It's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens.
Y'all, what you think? Like 147, 140?
Nah, hell no.
You think
135?
35, 40, I don't know. I could see it happening
Not too far in the future.
Really?
Yeah, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so it's
Then
like...
you're gonna get it on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Stevenson aims to surpass Artem Harutyunyan's challenge, pushing harder than Martin did last year, determined to achieve outright domination. Stevenson told Boxing Scene, "I'm not going to say I want to knock him out, because at the end of the day, when you go in there looking for the knockout, that's how they don't come. I'm looking to prove there are levels. We saw that Frank was on a C level against Davis, and I want to show Artem is C level as well." Stevenson further added, "It was a professional versus an amateur. Frank Martin lost the fight to Davis in the first round. When Tank walked out and made him do exactly what he wanted to do, he lost the fight. Frank went out there and wasted a lot of energy in the first 3 or 4 rounds. Tank lined him up and got rid of him." Stevenson is poised to chart his career path as a free agent after his bout with Harutyunyan, marking the conclusion of his contract with Top Rank. Meanwhile, WBA lightweight title holder Davis is preparing for a potential matchup with Stevenson's promotional colleague Vasily Lomachenko. As a result, Stevenson will not have the top 2 fighters in the division to choose from for his upcoming matchup this year, said Stevenson. "For now, we're focused on Artem." When asked about missing out on both Davis and Lomachenko, Stevenson mentioned that the opportunity to face IBF lightweight title holder Lomachenko has long been on their radar, awaiting negotiation by Top Rank. Yet, the situation is more complex than it appears, with Stevenson already considering other options. Stevenson said, "I think me and Lomachenko should be next in Unify. Honestly, a lot of people don't know that Lomachenko is one of my favorite fighters. It would be very lovely to share the ring with him. I think that he's a good fighter and that fight should happen. I think that's a Lomachenko question though. His team has to accept the fight, but it's my time right now." Currently, Stevenson must contend with Harutyunyan in his upcoming bout and then observe how the situation unfolds between Davis and Lomachenko. Stevenson said, "It just depends on which Lomachenko shows up against Davis. I honestly can't see him just knocking Lomachenko out. Lomachenko has tricks and is defensively sound. The skill level Lomachenko has is a lot better than Frank Martin. No disrespect to Frank Martin, it's just the experience level that Lomachenko has." Moreover, Stevenson revealed, "Tank has the edge. He's younger, fresher, and powerful. He has the edge for sure, but I don't see it as a whitewash. It also depends on what Lomachenko has left in the tank." A lot of people watched that last fight versus George Kambosos Jr. and felt that he looked super good. I paid attention. I thought he looked good, but he couldn't really up the pace the way he wanted to. When Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran faced off 3 times in their careers, they engaged in intense battles, holding nothing back in one of boxing's most celebrated rivalries. Despite Leonard's usual agile footwork, he chose to stand toe-to-toe with Duran, exchanging powerful shots. Their trilogy remains a timeless topic of discussion in boxing history. Shakur Stevenson aims to revive the intensity of the Duran versus Leonard rivalry in his anticipated matchup against Gervonta Davis.
How Tank fights, like you see Tank, he's...
Nah, you gotta fight Shakur Stevenson, kid.
No, I will also, no.
Until you get me Shakur and Tank, I'm not
100%, but I think that's being built. I feel like it's
but that's the problem. You marinate it and you get it when you don't want it. Now they're talking about Tank and Lomachenko. I don't need Tank and Lomachenko. I needed it like 4 years ago.
Their demonstrated skills and ring intelligence have already positioned them as prominent figures in the sport, leaving fans eagerly anticipating a potential showdown between them. Recently, coach Kenny Ellis, part of Gervonta Davis's coaching team, highlighted the potential excitement of a bout between Tank and Shakur. According to Ellis, a matchup between Shakur and Tank could easily sell out any day of the week. Following Smith's remark, Jeff Zimmerman of Fight Hype likened Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis to a contemporary version of the Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns rivalry, known for its historic bouts. However, Stevenson, a boxing enthusiast, differed in his perspective. He believed that a matchup between him and Davis would more closely resemble the bouts between Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. "I think it's more like a Duran versus Ray Leonard," answered Shakur Stevenson immediately. Zimmerman noted that Davis's coach, Kenny Ellis, expressed confidence in Gervonta's capability to defeat Shakur. In response, Shakur Stevenson respectfully expressed disagreement with Kenny Ellis. "Gervonta Davis unquestionably possesses formidable power, capable of knocking out opponents with precision and ease when his punches find their mark. His knockdowns appear effortless, showcasing his calculated and precise striking abilities. Davis stands out among fighters for his exceptional understanding of range and reach, qualities that coach Kenny Ellis undoubtedly trusts. However, will this intimidate Shakur Stevenson? Absolutely not." Shakur Stevenson said, "I ain't really see what Ellis said, so I don't know. But he should pick his guy to win. Everybody should believe that they're gonna win, and that's very normal. But I'm 100% sure that I'm a win, so we'll see once the day lines up." However, the team from Baltimore is initiating discussions with Top Rank for the Lomachenko fight, as reported by former world champion turned analyst Paulie Malignaggi to Pro Box TV, highlighting boxing's ongoing issues. Malignaggi said, "This is my issue here. When I wanted to see Davis and Lomachenko, I wanted to see Davis-Lomachenko. I don't need to see Davis and Lomachenko when it's too late already. Now I want to see Davis and Stevenson. And guess what? Nobody's talking about Stevenson. That's my issue. This is my problem with boxing." Malignaggi continued to compliment Tank, but in the end, he stated that despite the strong showing, his prediction, a Stevenson victory, hasn't altered. He said, "Davis looked terrific, man. I was very impressed with the performance, the way he was able to go and get that win. But come on, man, Shakur Stevenson is a different proposition than everybody else. The little problems you saw Frank giving Davis, it's times 10 when Shakur's there. I think Davis is also very qualified for the fight. Am I saying do I edge Shakur? I've always edged Shakur." Josh Dubin, co-manager of Stevenson, has asserted Stevenson's status as a major draw in boxing amidst speculation about a potential Davis versus Lomachenko matchup. Dubin took issue with comments from promoter Bob Arum, who suggested Lomachenko could be a more profitable opponent for Davis, emphasizing Lomachenko as the bigger fight. If a fighter doesn't bring to the table eyeballs, people who will pay to see the match, then it's really tough to make a big match for them, Dubin said. That, in my opinion, and I manage Shakur with James Prince, that is a totally nonsensical reason why they are not pushing to get Shakur this fight. And Lomachenko 3 fights ago couldn't fill New York's Madison Square Garden. He had to fight in the small room in the Garden. Shakur has been consistently one of the highest rated fighters on their roster anytime he fights on ESPN. Dubin added that the only time he didn't pull one of the higher ratings is when they had him fight on a Thursday night and tried to convince everyone, because of the Formula One race, that it was going to be the biggest event in the world. Shakur didn't even want to do it. He said that they're not going to be able to fill the arena. Moreover, Dubin said, people can draw their own conclusions. I think it's pretty obvious. In my opinion, they don't want to give him a big fight because their contract is running out, but they have the power to say to Lomachenko, look, here's the fight we're offering you. They don't do that. They could say to Tank Davis's people, look, Shakur is a bigger fight, and he is a bigger fight in our opinion because they're 2 undefeated guys in their prime. Dubin further added, Shakur wants the biggest fights, and I understand they can't force people to fight him, but to give the explanation that they're not trying to negotiate a Tank Davis fight because Shakur isn't the draw is just nonsense. Then, the guy who just beat Emmanuel Navarrete Baranchik is on social media calling Shakur out. He's making videos calling him out. Dubin remarked that he believed the reasons were quite evident. He questioned what incentive there would be for him to continue fighting for them, noting that they were not currently supporting him. Dubin acknowledged that Arum was not making negative comments, but criticized the justification given for not pursuing a fight with Tank Davis, calling it a lame reason and a lame excuse. He said, there's 3 fights that Stevenson wants: Lomachenko, Tank, and Baranchik. Those are the fights he wants. He's been pleading for those fights, and they could make the Baranchik fight at the snap of a finger right now. But the specific thing I'm responding to is Arum saying that in order to make a big fight, you need someone that puts bums in seats or eyeballs on the screen. Shakur's that guy. Dubin further noted that Shakur's popularity was evident not only from TV ratings, but also from breaking ticket sales records at the United Center in Newark, having sold 10,000 seats there multiple times. He highlighted that Shakur's fight with Oscar Valdez also sold around 10,000 tickets, possibly more in Vegas. Dubin expressed his view that it was a ridiculous excuse, emphasizing that Shakur consistently sells 10,000 tickets in Newark and is a significant draw both there and in Vegas. He insisted that these were not mere opinions but established facts. Furthermore, Dubin contends that Stevenson has more allure than Lomachenko. However, Stevenson failed to impress in his bout against De Los Santos, whereas Lomachenko shone brightly in his victory over George Kambosos in Australia. He added, fair enough, the operative part of that is against Kambosos, and that's another fight Shakur wanted. He didn't get that. Buddy McGirt suggests that the ultimate showdown in the 135-pound division would feature WBA champion Gervonta Davis against WBC champion Shakur Stevenson. McGirt told Seconds Out, he's in a hot division. He's in a very, very hot division. I think the fight right now has to be him and Shakur Stevenson. That's the fight. That's the only fight that makes sense in my opinion. That's got to be the super fight. There's a lot of guys that can test him, but I think the fight right now is him and Shakur. I believe that's the fight right now. Speculation continues regarding Davis potentially facing Ukraine's Vasily Lomachenko amid the complexities involving multiple factors in the lightweight and junior welterweight divisions. When a video of Devin Haney and Davis sparring went viral, McGirt was hardly at all intrigued. He said, sparring is one thing. Fighting is a completely different animal. You can beat someone up in sparring. That doesn't mean it's going to happen in the fight. I really don't feed off that stuff. In my day, you could have been the champ and gotten kicked 2 or 3 times a week. It didn't matter. You'd learn from it and keep on moving. Stephen A. Smith believes that Shakur Stevenson should be Gervonta Davis's next opponent in November, rather than Vasily Lomachenko. Smith believes that IBF lightweight champion Lomachenko doesn't have the knockout power to defeat Tank Davis, suggesting fans would witness Lomachenko attempting to outbox the Baltimore native and survive. Stephen opines that Shakur would have a better shot against Tank. A Tank versus versus Shakur fight would be a hard sell on PPV because Stevenson lacks a fan base beyond Newark, New Jersey. Stevenson did not manage to fill the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas for his last fight against Edwin de los Santos and was criticized for adopting a cautious strategy in that match. Smith said, "Now, Lomachenko is a brilliant tactician and a brilliant boxer. His footwork is magnificent and he's very experienced. Steven Smith's familiarity with boxing is questionable, given his apparent lack of knowledge about the sport. Shakur is not known for his punching power and is unlikely to knock out Tank Davis or effectively keep him at bay. Instead, as seen in his fights against De Los Santos, Jeremiah Nakahilia, Oscar Valdez, and Robson Conticao, Shakur tends to evade and move around the ring. Shakur Stevenson faces a pivotal bout, needing to deliver excitement after a lackluster performance against De Los Santos, where he stood his ground rather than evading for 12 rounds. This demands a shift from Shakur's long-standing amateur style, which he has adhered to steadfastly and shows no signs of altering now." Smith said, "My issue with Lomachenko is, I don't know if he has the power to stop Gervonta Davis, which means we'd basically be watching the fight to see if he'll outbox Gervonta or he'll survive. That's not the fight I want." Tank's current opponents struggle to match his punching prowess. Therefore, Lomachenko would opt to box him, as it represents the best strategy for him or any contender to defeat Tank. Smith added, "Tank is so much more powerful than people realize. I want to see him at the 140-pound limit. Don't make Ryan Garcia come down to 135. Don't have the rehydration clause in there. I'd like to see him with Teofimo Lopez too. Not Devin Haney, because even though Devin Haney is a fabulous boxer, I don't think he can take a punch from Gervonta Davis." Fans hold a contrasting perspective. They perceive Shakur as a cautious fighter who avoids engagement and has yet to face formidable opponents aside from Edwin de los Santos. Some argue de los Santos bested him last November, but ended up on the wrong side of a contentious decision. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather recently leaked sparring footage of Tank and Shakur. Moreover, Floyd recently said that the biggest puncher at 135 will probably be Gervonta Davis, but the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevenson.
Skills that pay the bills.
Well, the two guys, well, the biggest puncher, I feel, at the 135 will probably be Gervonta Tank Davis. But the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevenson.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.